Hey pals, welcome to Frame and Fiber. I'm glad you're here. How are you? Are you well? It's been a few weeks, so I hope you've been, what do I hope for you? I hope you've been enjoying your making. I hope you have enjoyed the shorter days. I know most of you don't enjoy the shorter days, but maybe you're cozying up and so it feels good. It's the end of January, so we are in the long haul of winter. So if you think about it, and if you're feeling the doldrums, try to get outside. Take a walk, let the fresh air wake you up. That's what I plan on doing tomorrow morning. I planned it in to my day. I'm gonna go walk in the woods. Yeah, so welcome. I am Paige Miller. This is my channel called Frame and Fiber. Frame and Fiber is also my picture framing and yarn shop in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. So check me out. You can find me on Instagram and you can find me on Ravelry. All of that will be linked below. My website is frameandfiber.com and I sell yarn and notions on Etsy, Frame and Fiber and Jay. So thanks for being here. I have a lot to show you today. I say a lot, it's not that much. There's some bunch of finished objects. There's a cat right here. You're gonna knock everything over, aren't you? I have a bunch of I made him jump. Okay. There's a lot of finished objects actually, which is kind of fun. I have one work in progress to show you. I have some make-alongs to talk about. I have some interesting to me, things happening in my life that I'll share with you. I've been drawing a lot lately, so I'll share some of that with you. So yeah, how about I start showing you some finished objects? I made 2 hats. Oh, you know what? I have a couple finished objects that I can't show you unless I take videos of them. Last episode, I talked about starting the Love Owl, which is found in Making Magazine, issue number 10, Intricate. It's this episode. That issue. All right, come on. Come here. So I finished one of the owls. I only made one. Can you come in my lap because your tail's in the way? And I already gifted it. So I do have a picture which I will put here. And I won't be able to give you or show you a video of it because I didn't take a video and I won't see the lady I gave it to until next week. So here's a picture. I did put a picture of it on Instagram. It may just be the exact same picture, but it was a really fun knit. The project took me, I guess, it took me 2 days to complete it, just because I didn't have, I think you definitely could finish it in one day for sure if you're just zooming along on it, but really fast, easy make, super fun. Yeah, that's it. I really can't say more about it because I can't show it to you and all that kind of stuff. I talked about it and did I talk about the yarn that I used? No, I didn't. So let me grab the yarn. I used this and I used this. Okay, I had scraps left over. So the yarn that I used is a little bit lighter than the yarn called for. It calls for a worst weight. I used DK weights. Baba! Stop. No. This is not a normal time for me to be doing this. It's a Tuesday morning. I should lock him out. Bubs. All right, come here. Come on, get down. He's channeling his inner Tabitha. If you guys watch the Crafty Toads podcast, their cat is always traveling around. All right, so this was leftover yarn from, what did I make with this? Oh, I made my ritual shawl by Hey Brown Berry with this. This is from Middlebrook Fiber Works, my friend Ann Choi. These are her yarns that she, there we go. This is her yarn that is from her sheep. It's blended with silks and rainy, but mostly her sheep. And then this is left over from my Forest Path shawl that I made, designed by Patricia of Knitography. And this is Foster's Sheep Farm, my friend Carol's sheep. So yeah, that's what I made my love owls out of. Come back to me, thank you. It was lovely, lovely project. I definitely recommend that stuffy. That stuffy that I made was my entry into the New Tea Make Along, because I had never knitted a stuffy ever. So I feel like picking that owl was the perfect jump into it, because it was just a little, it was like making a sock. It was lovely. All right, so then I made hats. So last week I talked to you, or last time I talked to you about this hat. I made my second hat. So this is the merge hat, also out of this magazine. So I should probably mention that the Making Mag Mal that I'm hosting between now and April 23rd, I think it is. Make anything from a Making Mag, any of the issues, and enter it on Instagram using this hashtag. So I made this hat first, love it, and then I made it out of Quince & Co. Phoebe. This is a yarn that I do carry in my Etsy shop. So you'll see that this one is a little bit longer. She did two versions of the hat, the longer version, the shorter version. This is a little bit more of a slouchy hat, or if your head is shaped like mine, it's more of like a pointy elf hat, which I love. And this is more of a skull. So can you see? Am I like, I hope you can, I hope it's focusing. I can't see, but I love the crown shaping, is so pretty. So yeah, isn't that a beautiful hat? Again, it was great in the speckle, but I really like that you can see, yeah, so you can't see it as much in the speckle, which is fine. It's still a lovely hat, but you really can see that design now. This Quince & Co. Phoebe is a very lovely yarn. It is, it's not hand dyed, but it's definitely a kettle dyed yarn, because there are variations. It's a very slight variegation, but you can see the difference in the tones. So if you were to use Quince & Co. Phoebe for a garment project or a big project, I would say you want to carry alternate skeins, just to avoid any pooling or any striping. Emily Green, the merge hat, so lovely. Okay, so that's done. And then I talked to you last time about wanting to cast on the Glenfiddich hat by Thea Coleman, right? Is it Thea Coleman? Yes. If it's not, I'll put the correction here. This was Cabley goodness, and I loved it. So there we have it. It's a smidge big on me. I say it's big on me, but look, I think it looks fine. It's a little big. This is Paul Miller's hat. It might be big on me because he's been wearing it nonstop since I made it. And he's got a big old noggin. It fits him perfect. Thea Coleman designed this hat for her husband, who requested a deeper hat because he's got a dude head, and so he wanted it to cover his ears. So it is, to me, meant, and she only did it for one size. Am I lying about that? I feel like it's only one size. So I feel like this is definitely more for if you have a lot of hair, or if you have a melon the size of, I call it melon, so fresh. Paul Miller has a big head, so compared to me anyway. We're the complete opposite in heads. But it is a beautiful cable pattern. I think those cables are beautiful and so fun to knit. So fun. So 3 hats in 3 weeks, right? I'm like Joey when he wears all of Chandler's clothes. All right, so anyway, 2 hats for the Making Mag, Mal. Okay, anyway, so that's that. Those are my finished objects. I have another finished object to share with you. Are you ready for it? My epic Marled Mania leggings are finished. Yes, it took me forever to finish these. Just because they're boring. And they're really long. I shouldn't say they're really boring. If you really like mindless, like knitting in the round, and that's what you love, definitely make these. They are reverse stockinette, but you're knitting, you're not purling, because you're knitting in the reverse. Yeah. I used, up here is all just scraps that I had, and then I switched to minis, and I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 mini skeins. 20 gram mini skeins. So what is that? 18 times 20. Do the math, because I can't. 20 times 18. I know it's like 18 times 20. 360 grams. So that is 3.5, 3 3/4 skeins of yarn. So not so bad. Everything's weaved in. I realized I have, I didn't do that. It just, that's where I picked up. That's the you know, the crotch area where you pick up in all different directions. So I do need to go back in there and shore that up. I forgot to do that. But everything else is done. Everything's weaved in. They're super comfortable. They're very warm. I've spent the whole, oh, I didn't take all of my stitch markers off. I spent the whole day in them, I think it was last Sunday. Inside, outside, all kinds of stuff. It was fun. They were super cozy. I think I talked about this last time, but they were a little bit big in behind the knee. I'm not opposed to making another pair of these, because even though it took me forever to make them, I love, it's kind of like, it took me the same amount of time as a scrappy blanket would take, right? So it's really not that bad if you look at it that way, as far as like a long-term project. So I'm not opposed to making them again. I would do them differently in that I think instead of doing reverse stockinette, they would be ribbed. Just because they fit more like pants rather than leggings. Stephen West wrote this pattern, and being a dude, shaped like a dude. I mean, dudes, their bodies are this with like literal, like, you know, sticks. We as women have a lot more shape to our parts. So I feel like if I had ribbed these, they would have felt, they fit fine, but they would have felt better in that I feel like they would have cinched up a little bit more. I did do I did only about an inch to an inch and a quarter of positive E. Negative E's, I should have done a full 2 inches, so they could have been a little bit smaller. But even so, I still think that stockinette still would have felt loose no matter what. I think ribbing is the way to go if I want them to fit like leggings, especially because going from my thigh into my knee and then back out into my calves, my knees and behind my knees, it's a lot smaller than above and below it. So unless I really wanted to like then start increasing again, and I just, none of that. I think ribbing would have solved that for me. So that's one thing. So the legs, I did about 1 1/4 inch of negative E's. I did not do enough negative E's in my waist. I think I probably should have cast on less stitches. It's a little bit too big in the waist. But I have this really cool belt. It's a really thin elastic belt. Like it's meant for women so that we can wear a belt without having all that extra on our belly. I put that on the bottom of the rib and then I just folded the rib over, and it's like, it feels so perfect and so snug and comfy that that's how I'm gonna wear them. So in fact, I might, I say this, but you know I don't sew. But I might actually put some, I'm glad I did what I did here. I did a really, I think this is almost 5 inches of ribbing, where the pattern calls for like 2 inches of ribbing at the top. So I'm glad I did that much, because I think I might fold this over and sew some elastic in the top. I don't know. I might not, because the belt that I have is super comfy, and maybe I'll just not. So I might plan for the next time around to do, what's it called? Is it a tubular cast on? Right, it's tubular, because then you work up like this and then you connect. You know what I'm talking about? For like, I've done it with brims of hats, where you're knitting. Or like maybe a Turkish cast on, is that what it is? I don't know. And then you bind off, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Then you bind off the back. Anyway, I'm thinking I might work into the next pair some elastic. I had thought maybe I would bind off, cast on to do belt loops, but I felt like maybe that's kind of dumb. So anyway, why don't I insert here a little video of me showing off my leggings. Okay, there they are. I love them. They are super fun. Do I have anything else to tell you about them? I don't think so. Fingering weight, held double, so it's a DK weight. I used a size 5, US 5 needle for these. Oh, pardon. The high spike. I did, at the bottom here, you can see I somehow screwed up not screwed up, but I kind of lost track of my decreases. And so the legs at the bottom are a little bit askew, but I mean, just enough where you only see it when they're in your hand, not when it's on my body. The yarn yarns that I use all came from Legacy Fiber Arts, Mitchell's Fiber Arts, and Yarn Cafe Creations. Oh, and Wolfiend. Yep, Wolfiend. So those were the mini sets. I do have more minis, and I love the crazy stripes, the crazy marled stripes that I got using these. So I might do some more minis. I don't know, we'll see. Super fun. If you are interested in making leggings, I would definitely recommend this pattern with some modifications. And the only reason I say that is, again, Stephen West having dude legs. The pattern's written for very straightforward legs, right? A very, or I should say, we all have straightforward legs. A very even distribution of the decreases. But if you're anything like me, like my legs from my hips, my rump, it does this more than it does this, right? So I would recommend measuring from right inside of your, like that groin hip area, your widest part, and then measuring like every inch down your leg to see what that measurement is, and then figuring out how many stitches you need to decrease according to your gauge. Not very hard to do, just takes some time and preparation. I think that's the key to these. If you really want a really good fit, you need to take the time to prep. Once that's done, you should be fine. Cool, right? So good. All right, so next up, I want to talk to you guys about some whips. No, yes, a whip. And I want to kind of go over with you some of the make-alongs that I'm involved in. So let's start here. This is my entry into the MM Mitt Along. This is being hosted by Hey Brown Berry and Earth Tones Girl. They are doing, I don't know what day of the week, I feel like it might change depending on their schedules, but they're doing live on Instagram. They do Maker Minutes or Maker Monday. I'm gonna look that up because I want to tell you the right information. Maker Minutes. All right, so it's the MM Mitt Along, hosted by, like I said, Mars and Denise, together through their Maker Minutes Instagram live sessions. They do Maker Minutes, I believe it's like every other week. Don't quote me on that though. So the Mitt Along goes through February 28th. It started January 15th. Mitts, mittens, hand items, knit, crochet. I think like all of the crafts are involved. I made one. I just cast on my second mitt. I love this make-along. I love this make-along because I feel like with mitts and socks and hats, you can really finish something quickly, feel accomplished, right? Like having the things finished. You know, last year, I've talked about this before, but last year, most of my projects took me, I felt like a long time because they were a little bit, all of them were very involved or big like those. So doing these hats and doing these mitts have really been quite encouraging to my making ego because I'm finishing things. So if you need that palette cleanser between two big projects, or you just need to finish something to feel productive, cast on some mitts. They don't even have to be mittens. You can make one mitt in one day. So this is so pretty. Sorry if the lighting is askew. Today is a very dark sleet or freezing rain. I always forget which one's which, but it's nasty outside. So I have some artificial light on today. Anyway, these are the Riverside mitts by A Swimmy. A Swimmy on Instagram and Ravelry. Shoot! What is her first name? Her name is Amber. Her Ravelry name is A Swimmy. Put it here. Beautiful, fun pattern. She just released these. These are brandy new. I don't remember. Oh, yes, I do. Let me open my Knit Companion. Do you guys use Knit Companion? Come back, come back. Okay. I love my Knit Companion. I put up on Instagram the other day a picture of these mitts with my, let me look at my book. Where did I write it? Here it is. So this is the, this is the key and abbreviation for the chart. So I love using my Knit Companion, but I don't like switching back and forth between a chart and a legend. I always wish that the pattern writers would put the legend on the page with the chart. It doesn't always happen because I can't fit it all in, so I get that. But I need to constantly look at a legend, because sometimes, even though I can look at the cable and say, oh, that's right leaning, or oh, that's left leaning, that doesn't mean in my brain I remember exactly, like, wait, so is that a slip slip knit, or is that a hold in the front, hold in the back? So I need to make some shorthand for myself. So I put the symbol, and then usually they're you know, it's described, written out in lots of words. I don't need the lots of words. I just need to know how many stitches are slipped, are they front or back, and then what's the order of knitting them back onto my needles. So that's it. That's what I have to write out. So I have my little cheat sheet, and then I use my Knit Companion. And I don't think I print out patterns anymore. I might write up, like if I'm using, which I'll show you in a minute, if I'm using my sock book and there's a pattern in there, I might take a picture of that, and so I'm using, that's not Knit Companion, but I don't print on paper that much. Why am I getting this? Oh, I know why. Oh, so the pattern calls for Quince & Co. Chickadee, and I'm using Quince & Co. Chickadee. This is Chickadee in the colorway, I believe it's Storm. I think it's Storm. Isn't it pretty? So the Riverfront mitts, it is reverse stockinette, but it's not, because it's purled. Like in my brain, to me, reverse stockinette is when I am knitting. So I'm knitting onto the, no. I'm knitting off of the back needle instead of the front needle, right? And so I'm knitting on the inside of the fabric. I'm working on the inside. Does that, right? You don't understand what I'm saying. This is the same look, except you're purling. So if you're not a purling fan, you might not love, and you could modify. So you might not want to do them, or you might want to modify it and not do purl. I didn't have a problem with the purling. It's such a small amount of purling. I think if you need to practice purling, this would be a good one, because it's not so much purling that you're, you know, ready to cry, but I don't know. It's really such a pretty design. I love my thumb gusset. I love the way that the increases look on the purl side. Almost looks a little ribbed. Can I show that to you? Right? Doesn't that look a little bit like a rib? So I started, or I cast on my second one. Do you really need to see that? I don't know, I'm showing it to you. I cast this on last night. Hopefully I'll have these done over the weekend. I may or may not, depending, because I decided yesterday, I did a lot of planning yesterday. I use a program called Asana to task manage everything at my shop. So I started using Asana to kind of track my making and the things that I'm doing at home. If you haven't seen Boston Jen, her YouTube channel is Downseller Studio. Go check her out. She's doing a whole series with her mom, and I think she only has one video of the series out, about how to plan and get more things finished by using your time wisely. She is a prolific knitter, but she's prolific not because she is like spends all of her waking minutes knitting. It's because she spends all of her minutes efficiently. And so she's helping us, giving great tips on how to do that. She's talking about using Evernote which is like a note-taking app. I believe it's free. I think you can I think it's a Google. Is it a Google thing? I could be lying. It could just be an open source thing, or it could be Apple. I could not know what I'm talking about. But she uses Evernote. And so she's going through the way she plans out her day, the way she approaches her planning. It's very cool. Go check out Boston Jen. She's on Instagram. It's Boston Jen 1 or 2 or oh my gosh, stop being a spaz. So anyway, I use Asana to task manage, and I figured I'm going to just stick with my Asana and try to use that to plan in my making. So let me go to my making board. So this is, you know what? I can't really show it to you. So for my knitting, I really didn't have anything until I cast these on. I only had, once I finished the hats, I only had my Aunt Amy's socks that I'm this close to finishing, so I don't want to show them to you now, but I'm only knitting on these. I have no other knitting on the needles. And although I'm not necessarily I'm not monogamous, but I'm also not like, I don't cast on all of the things. I'm really comfortable having about 3 or 4 projects on the needles at any given time. Like that's the max that I like. But I really like having that many. Like I like a pair of socks or a hat, something small that's on the go. I like something that is like for gifting, or I don't know, like a palette cleanser or something. I like something in between. So it could be a shawl, or it could be a scarf or a hat. And then I like to have or be working toward a garment. So because I didn't have anything on the needles, and I didn't have any ideas. So I went through and I picked out a few things. Again, these are for the mid-along. So I wanted to gear my future whips, future cast-ons, based on the different make-alongs that I want to be a part of. So one that I'm hosting for my making mag, Mal, the Shifting Sands pullover is by Nora Gone, and it is in making, I forget which one. It is available as a individual purchase. Oh, speaking of individual purchase, I'll get back to the Shifting Sand in a second. Last time I spoke with you, I said I was going to be casting on the Hudson Mitts by Whitney Hayward for the MM make-along, MM mid-along, and obviously I did not. And I didn't because I realized I don't have that issue of Making Magazine. So when I went to making on Ravelry, most of their patterns are listed and you can just purchase. But for some reason, that pattern it was listed, you could see it, but it didn't have a way to purchase it. So I don't know why. So that's why I switched. Shifting Sands pullover is available on Ravelry, and it's lovely. And I'm going to be swatching for it this weekend. I scheduled it in. So swatching commences on Saturday. And I have yet to decide if I'm going to do it in Cotton Comfort, which is an American wool and cotton blend from Green Mountain Spinnery, or if I'm going to do it in Owl from Quince & Co., which is I think it's 50-50 American wool and American alpaca grown fibers. I don't know which one I want to do yet. The pattern yarn, I forget what company it was, but it was a 50-50 wool and linen. I don't have anything like that. So I'm assuming the linen gives it that like heavy linen drapey feel. So that's why I was thinking maybe I would do the Owl, because alpaca kind of has that, it's not the same kind of drape but it's drapey. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to swatch with the two of them and see how it goes, which fabric I like better. I think the yarn that they call for is a DK weight. I think it's a 20 stitches over 4 inches. Right, yeah, 5 stitches to the inch, and I think that Owl might be 4.5 stitches to the inch. So we'll see how it goes. I will let you know when I swatch. So that has been planned into my making. And then I am from making making black and white. I will be swatching. It's a shawl. I'm just gonna start knitting. I'm not swatching for a shawl. I know, if you know me, you know that I'm always preaching the benefits of swatching, but it's a shawl. So I want to cast on there's 2 shawls in this book that I keep going back and forth on, but no. It's the Quill Shawl by Vera Valimaki. So the Quill Shawl is this one. And it's in the Making Mag. So yet again, another entry for the Making Mag Mal. I hope you guys will join me in this. I hope you, when you are looking through for a next pattern, think about some of the make-alongs that are currently running and maybe try to see which ones you could fit a pattern into. For me, it made trying to pick things out for the make-alongs really helped me narrow down the things that I was looking at. I don't know about you, but Ravelry can be a rabbit hole of indecision. So, all right, so it calls for a fingering weight yarn. And I believe it's just a merino wool. I should probably remember this so I can compare better. Pure Wash Fingering by Tan. Yeah, so it's 100% organic merino. So I either will be using Stash for this, or I thought maybe I would try to do it in Sparrow. So Sparrow is a 100% linen yarn from Quince & Co. and it's fingering weight. And obviously linen and merino are very different, but it's a shawl, and linen has that gorgeous, I love how heavy linen feels on you. So I'm like, that would be a beautiful shawl too. So I don't know. I'm casting that on Thursday. I'm casting on a bunch. So I'm swatching on Saturday, not casting on, swatching. Casting that on Thursday. I could probably find a make-along to enter these into. But I have the 52 weeks of socks, which I do sell in my shop, but currently it's out of stock. This was gifted to me before I even bought them, but before I sold it in the store by a sweet dear friend. I'm taking off the little sleeve just so I can show you the cover. So if you don't have this book and you love socks, I think you should get this book. It is an investment. It's not a cheap book. I think it's like $50 or $60. But it's lovely, and it's 52 patterns. So I've only done one out of it. I want to consciously make purposeful decisions in my sock making to make patterns out of this book. So, I opened up right to it. So the next one I want to do is the elf slippers. Slippers. So this is a pattern. I'm going to butcher her name. I'm going to put it down here. I just think these are so pretty. And they're all over color work, simple color work. It's a small motif. And it is made in, okay. I know we all have, this is just my opinion, and this is not to say that any pattern is bad, but I really prefer, I know this can't be all the time because some patterns are written specifically to sell the yarn, so they want to just promote the yarn. But I really, really appreciate when they give you the yarn that was used in the pattern, but then give you the gauge so you can like match up your own, not the gauge of the pattern, but the gauge of the yarn. So you can match up your own yarn, because no, I don't know if this is a DK or I didn't write it down. Oh, it must be a DK weight or a sport weight because I put down that I want to either do this in Cotton Comfort from from Green Mountain Spinnery or Navia Duo. I might do this in Navia Duo. So I must have used my yarn sub to figure out what this yarn was and to figure out the gauge. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be casting on. I'm casting these on. Do I have this on my dates? I don't have this. Oh, I didn't schedule that one in. Maybe because casting on one thing is plenty for this week. So anyway, maybe then I don't need to talk to you about this. Anyway, this book, that pattern, I think I'll put pictures, or I already have put pictures so you can see the patterns better. So those are my future my future makes in my task management program. I don't have a make along in mind for those socks, so I think what I will do after this is go hunt down a cool, fun, exciting make along. Are you guys make along participants? Do you do them, or do you want to do them and then forget about them? I feel like with my task management program, I will keep track better of what the make-alongs are, what their rules are, what their time frame is, all that good stuff. So I have been slacking on my knitting because I've been obsessed with my drawing lately. I don't necessarily journal as far as like writing down, like I don't write my feelings or thoughts. Generally, I usually meditate and pray through those. But I will write down like a word, like say I'm praying for my brother, I'll write brother, or, you know, maybe a friend is going through a search. So like I'll do, you know, I'll write those things down, or if there's stuff that I am like anxious about or thinking about, I'll jot them down. Like, you know, tax season's coming up, right? So getting all that stuff together. So tax prep. And so I will write them down in the morning, and then I'll like, in order to keep my mind focused on my prayer and my meditation, I generally, which I know is totally opposite of what meditation is, because you're supposed to like quiet your mind, but I need to focus my mind, and it doesn't focus if my hands aren't moving. I've trained myself that way. I've been like that forever, and so I don't know if I can untrain myself. So I doodle, and you can look in like old books, old Bibles from church. You know, my pastor will be preaching, and I'll be taking notes and like drawing, and it's always how I've been. And recently, you know, you self-reflect in January, right? That's what we do. And so I really wanted to be more, confident in who I am and be okay with who I am, right? We all do. And I thought if part of me doesn't share things with people because I just don't want to open myself up to, well, I don't want to open myself up to anything that is uncomfortable or unkind or all of that, right? I don't want to deal, like, if I can keep myself more private, then I don't have to deal with people's opinions. And that's smart, right? Like, there is definite wisdom in not, you know, opening up yourself to things that is unnecessary. Tracking with that? Are you tracking with that? But at the same time, I feel like sometimes because I'm like that, I don't necessarily come across as, I don't know, caring or real or serious. Like, I'm very goofy, but I do have a serious side, and I do have a side that like actually does care. And so I decided to start sharing some of my doodles and drawings, which I don't generally share with people because it's very self-conscious. I'm self-conscious about that kind of stuff for all kinds of reasons. But I'm also at the point in my life where, like, I make things all the time. I am an artist. I've never called myself that because I was always thinking you had to be a certain level or you had to be a certain like way. And that's just hogwash. Like, who cares if my drawings aren't on the same level as, I don't know, whoever. Like, take your pick. You know, like, I've been surrounded by artists and musicians and creatives my entire life, my friends, the people I've chosen to be around. And although that is wonderful and encouraging to be around them, there's also that side of it where I feel self-conscious. Like, I'm finally at the point where just start being and who cares? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Like, this is all good. Like, this is not bad. Like, you don't need to like write any comments of encouragement because I'm good. So I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start sharing my little doodles and drawings because then people can see a little glimpse into my brain. Like, I love quotes, love quotes. I love writing things over and over. So I was like, you know what? There are probably tons of people out there just like me. And so I'm going to put myself out there and maybe I will attract those people. And then we will all live happily ever after. Just kidding. Kidding, but also not kidding. So anyway, I thought I would share that with you. I am sharing them a lot on Instagram. Yeah. So like right now I'm doing a Bible study-ish, devotional maybe, that gives you, each day there's 3 descriptive words of God. And then a Bible verse about that, right? So it's very simple, but a very good way to start my day in like a focused, positive, purposeful way. And so I will write the word down, and this is after I've written the word and the verse, I'm just doodling through the thoughts of that. Or there are times where I will do that and then I'm writing more verses, but I'm also writing some people's names in there. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Okay, well then I discovered that they make graph paper in circular form. I don't know how I never knew this. Like, obviously they do that, but I never figured it out. I love graph paper. Graph paper is one of my most favorite things. And so I bought this circular graph paper. And I have been doing these mandala, I don't know how to say that word, drawings, which if you're on Instagram, you've seen some of these. So like that's the first one. I'm only a few pages in. Miller, though, he pointed out that everything I do is like, every shape is symmetrical. Like you cut them all in half and it's a mirror image. So he decided that I should, here's a couple more. He decided, right, that I should try to draw things that aren't as symmetrical. So I did. And I came up with this total like chaos. I didn't end up finishing this one because it was just like way too many things to like look at. And I kept trying to make them non-symmetrical, but really I was just making different shapes that were symmetrical. So I couldn't do it. And then I started, so then I was talking to him about it and he drew 2 lines in every pie shape of my circle. And so I still did mirror images, right? But they're broken up by his lines. So you can see like that's his line right there. And then this is his line. And I filled in. This one, I should have stopped. So, because you can't see some of the really cool things happening in there. I should have stopped. I started this one yesterday. It's the same lines that he drew there. I just redrew them here. And so you can see like where they break up, right? Like where this looks like it's underneath this piece. So like I'm having so much fun with this. So that's taking up a lot of my time. And I'm loving my pens. I also love doing lettering. Oh, did I bring my lettering in for you? I love lettering. Love, love, love it. I love pens. I haven't done this recently because I kind of haven't advertised it. But for a long time, I did envelope addressing for weddings and events. And so I love writing things out. It's so much fun. I don't know why. I just love it. And pens. I think that's why, right? Is that why I'm... Oh yeah, so I got some new pens. And this is just regular old plain dotted graph paper. And that's when I do my lettering. I practice my letters. So like I take song lyrics, or like I take song lyrics, or I take what are they called? Quotes, that's the word, and practice them. Or I just write the alphabet letter by letter by letter. So I've been doing that a lot. I do a lot of, not calligraphy, I'm left-handed, so my calligraphy isn't necessarily the traditional calligraphy, it's hand-drawn lettering. But I just found some beautiful new pens. They're new to me. Okay, this is my new pen. And it's a brush tip. They're so fun to write with. So I will link these below if you're a pen lover and you haven't seen these. They're called Tombow pens. Brush lettering, Tombow pens. And then I also have it in 2 different colors. And then my favorite pen to write with over in general is a Uniball Signo. It's their gel pen. It's this one. There we go. Okay, so it's that pen. I have this pen from, you can see right here, it says Ultra Micro, all the way up to Impact. So this is super fine and this is super wide. So much fun. So I just wanted to share with you what I've been doing. Maybe I didn't need to go into all of the why of it. Maybe I didn't need to share, but see, no, I do. I need to share with you. I want to be, I feel like in order to get rid of, I feel like in order to deal with and work through insecurities, I kind of need to put them out there, right? Like, so I do need to share them with you. So I just did. I have plenty of other ones that you'll never hear about, but these are the ones I'm comfortable talking about. So anyway, pens, graph paper. I have scheduled in my drawing time because the last week I did way too much drawing. Way too much. All right, kids, I think that's it. I think we will leave it here. I'll see you in a couple weeks. I hope you have a beautiful time until we meet again. I hope you can fit in some of the things that you love. I hope that you will remember to fit in time for some of the people you love. I hope you'll remember to fit in some time for the community you're a part of, whatever that might mean in the moment for you. Yeah, that's the stuff I hope for me too. I'm gonna plan it in so I can get it done. And until then, I will see you guys on Instagram and on Ravelry. Yeah, thanks for being with me. Have a beautiful day. Bye. Oh.